I love that. Hello. Okay, so we're live. We're live.
We're live.
Okay, so we're Facebook Live, and I'm here with the fabulous, amazing, most wonderful Colette Baron Reid.
Oh no, you're over there.
You're over there. I know. Like, I want to go like this, but you're really like here.
No, it's like that.
You're next to my.
We're in the mirror. We're in the mirror, right?
So if you're there, say hi. Tell us you're with us and hanging out with us. And I'm hearing that weird sound again. I'm hearing that
echo. Somebody knocked on my door.
So it's a dog barking. That's a dog.
I don't know what to do.
That's okay. You don't
like it's alive and I don't know what to do.
You guys are hearing Colette's little babies, the little
and can I go answer the door? I don't know what to do. Should I
go answer the door? I'll just show you the door. Go answer the door. I'll see you. Hi everybody. Hi. I see all of you saying hello. You're just so sweet. I see Tiziana from Italy and Roz. Hi honey. Hi Roz and Tracy and Vivian and Barbie and Diana and there's Kari and Ginger. Oh, Ginger and Isabel and Mona and Lorraine and Angel and Lisa and Jenny and Sue Ann and Denise and Tracy and Sandra. Okay, so there's a lot of you. So here's the deal. I am Liz Dawn, and I am the CEO and co-founder of Celebrate Your Life Events and Mishka Productions. And we have something every single month called the Celebrate Your Life Book Club. And so this month we did something totally different, right? Totally like off the wall, fun and different. And we featured divination expert, best-selling author, the most fabulous Pomeranian lover woman, the most gorgeous clothes and style you've ever seen.
Except today. Except today.
No,
I was painting today.
So here's the deal.
Yeah.
So we featured for this month's book club. We featured Colette's cards, Wisdom of the Oracle, and we've been doing the Celebrate Your Life book club for. Oh my gosh, it's almost a year and a half, almost 2 years now, since it was sort of our answer to keep community together from this thing that's going on globally anyway. And it's really fun and it's free and we're here. So at the end of every single month, we come in and we talk about the book of the month. But this time it's the cards of the month.
Yay.
So, Colette, you said something to me before, and I've known you for a long time. I've never heard you say this. And you said you are a divination expert.
I don't know why you've never heard me say that.
I've never heard you say that.
That is why I have 14 Oracle card decks. That's why I've sold over 1 million decks worldwide and counting. I have more decks in the works. It's my passion. It's really where it's really my absolute passion. And I can honestly say I'm an expert in it because it is something that I've studied and worked with. And I always say that you have to have 10,000 hours put into something in order to be an expert. So I know I am. But really it's more about, and I'm always learning too, which is interesting. But what I have done is taken ancient divination techniques and modernized them in a lexicon. And I know there's tons and tons and tons of fabulous new deck creators out there now. And I'm not, I love to buy them and love to see, etc. So there's this new renaissance right now in this oracular world. My interest has been in how did the ancients, how did theirs work, and can we, innovate to make them more modern? So my interest was really in the historical content.
Well, I've never heard you use the word divination expert because I've always called you the queen of the oracle.
Well, oracle expert, divination expert, it's the same thing. Oracles. Well, oracles.
All of your decks, yeah.
Thank you. This is my teaching deck, actually. So thank you for featuring this. This oracle card deck was, I would say, it's my quintessential deck that. I took it really seriously when I created this deck. And I thought, if I were to create only one deck, and of course, since then I've created so many more, but how could I teach people about how to use divination as a personal transformation tool in an actual product that they could use at home. And also this is the deck that I teach with in Oracle School, which is the school that I've had, which is in its 6th iteration right now, so 6th season. And this is how I teach people. It's with this particular product. So you'll notice that the guidebook is very thick, and my guidebooks are always quite thick. I put a lot of work into the actual content of the writing content. So the art accompanies my writing as opposed to me putting the art first, which is, even though I've had a phenomenal relationship to one of my very best friends, Jenna de la Gratalia, who I met when she was a makeup artist. And I thought, oh my God, this girl's so talented. We've done so many decks together. It's amazing.
She did the art for this one.
Yeah. And she's got her own stuff coming out now too. And I'm going to work with a couple other people, and then we're going to get back together. But she did the work on this, and we connect together. We decided we wanted to do something whimsical that was also, symbolic to what I had written. And that really mirrors what the ancients did, other than runic symbols and things like that, which were letters that we know about, like in the Norse traditions, and actually in my Slavic tradition, where I come from, which is pagan animist. That's how I was raised. That's what I know. Where, there was different ways in which you could see language and symbolism. And so each oracle that I create has its own lexicon. So in other words, they would have their own symbols. And in this case, they're artistic symbols. So they're depicted as these images that Jenna created with my direction to actually embody symbolically and metaphorically what the card is trying to say. But I do want to say as well too that oracles, and again, I can only speak for myself and what I've learned, that oracles need to actually have a specific lexicon in order to work as a divination system. Now, there's lots of great oracle card decks out there that are more about the card for the day, that gives you some guidance or information that way. But this actually, all my decks work together. In other words, every card speaks to the other card. So you can do multiple card readings with it, and they flow because they were meant to speak to each other. So, sometimes in developing a deck, I end up having to kick some out because they don't play well with the others.
So last time we were talking, we had someone in the audience mention that they've got all of your decks.
I know. It's
and
great.
What they're doing is that they use a deck a month, which I thought was so fantastic.
Cool.
Like using a deck, like choosing a deck for each month and using a deck a month, which I thought was so wonderful. So do you ever use, because I've got so many decks, and I've got this one of yours, the Wisdom of the Oracle, and then I've got the Spirit Animals, and then I've also got the Goddess deck. I mean, they're also exquisite. They really speak to my heart. So when I'm using them, can I, like you said, can I like interchange them or put them
all my decks are meant to work together. Spirit Animal is a particularly important deck because of my ancestry. And oftentimes people mistake the concept of spirit animal as only referenced to Native American or North American, and that isn't true. In the Slavic tradition, which is very, very old, you'll see some similarities, including my great-grandmother was Mongolian. In that part of the world, their origins were animism. So Serbian or Slavic or Balkan animism, which is something father raised me, was to see the spirit in all things, and actually to see and to have contact with the spirit of nature. And animals were a big part of that. So when my father taught me how to read Turkish coffee cups, he taught me about spirit animals. And that is the translation into English, which is spirit animal or soul animal, whatever. So that deck was a particularly meaningful deck for me because it's really dedicated to my father. But because we're a global society, I wanted to have animals from all over the world. Certainly in the Balkans, they didn't have lions, right? Or kangaroos,
Exactly.
or wombats, right? So I wanted every continent to be included in the deck. So I think it's just super important that people understand that animism is not the same thing as an indigenous tradition. Animism is a philosophy, and it is also a way in which you see the world. And the concept of spirit animals are global. So specifically, and we have some great articles actually, if anybody's interested, on my history, on my own ancestry. So, and why it's like that. So that one, the goddess deck, of course, was, an attempt at being able to gather together as many as you can. My other decks, but I want to go back to this one because this is the deck.
It's
really important.
But I also want to post a link to your website, Colette, because if you don't have this deck, it's such a beautiful deck. You absolutely must go and grab this because, okay, hold on. Colette Baron Reid.com. And I'm not putting a hyphen in that. So if you go to Colette's website at ColetteBaronReid.com, at the top right, there's a shop link. Oh,
come here, stop.
He likes that, or she likes that. She's like, oh, do you have both of them? Can you put both of the babies?
My husband is on a big tractor outside of the house. And so just in time for this. I want to say too, crystal spirits is, again, I'm an animist. I believe that everything talks. And some people are like, what does that even mean? And it's because it is my worldview. I really believe that a crystal will speak to me. Like, I believe that this black tourmaline, if I want to sit down with it, it's going to have a conversation with me, which is why we called it crystal spirits. Again, yes, exactly. To me, they're not inanimate objects at all. They have spirit. They talk to us. That's my view, right? You might not have the same view as me, but that's what stimulates my making these oracles. And the origins of divination has always been originally about us in relationship to nature. And then it evolved, of course. And now what I wanted to do is to create something. And again, this was the big turning point for how I make my decks, was to realize that rather than it just being a predictive quality, because a lot of people in the past saw divination as fortune telling. Like, I'm going to tell you what your future is. But when everything is so uncertain and in flux, if we are evolving and emerging consciously, then we're going to overshoot that. We might change the potential outcome. And so I wanted to create oracles as a method of people being able to make better choices and elevate themselves to that cosmic blueprint that can get so crud, that had so much crud on it, because we lose our way, especially in the past year and a half. I think oracles.
How many of you lost your way in the last year and a half? Let's hear a amen for that one.
I think because we've been rehearsing a state of fight, flight, freeze for the past year and a half, particularly. And we've been indoctrinated into the idea that uncertainty is our regular reality. And that is when we are evolving and there's no footing, people have a tendency to take a look at oracles as a way to get certainty. And I say they're a way to keep you curious about what life is asking of you. I think one of the biggest issues that we have right now is the fact that, like, it's been very interesting. It's the fact that we've become so polarized everywhere. And that polarization also creates a lot of fear and a sense of being defensive. And so when we can't have these kind of dialogues, oracles can really help us see what is true and not what our anxiety is telling us, etc. So I have found that meditation, prayer, using oracles to stay in alignment with what is in the highest good, may not necessarily what my ego self or my small self is trying to do, which is to seek a perceived threat. Because everybody has been rehearsing, being on patrol, looking for a perceived threat that they could swat it as fast as they see it. And that isn't life. That's not evolution. That is going backwards. So it's a funky place where we all find ourselves right now. And where are our dreams? Where are the things that, we believe in? And it's not all that, of course, right? But it makes it very difficult to make real change.
Right.
right? To make
Well,
real
these are
change.
just, so we do have a couple of questions, and
Sure.
I know that some of you are asking for readings. I'm not quite sure we're going to do that, although I might do a reading and pull some cards.
I don't mind doing a few, but I'd like to talk
I'll
about
read
the
from
actual.
the book. Like, I'll really, like, this book is so complete. This guidebook is so completely amazing. But if you have a couple of general questions, that would be
About, yeah, what I'd like to make this about is this is a book club and you want to know about how do you work with this? What do you,
exactly.
you know, like what could you learn about working with oracles as opposed to me doing a reading for you, which is, you can join my membership site for that.
Someone had asked about a relationship, and I just want to show you the card I just pulled.
Yeah, and we can talk about, oh, that's interesting, soulmates. And let me tell you a little bit more about that. The concept of soulmate.
One more question before you go on. Someone also asked about what would be the best one for what of your decks would be the best one for beginner? And then someone who's in your school said, I'm in her school and I think Wisdom of the Oracle would be good.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you two decks that I think. Wisdom of the Oracle is because it is so dense with information. And when I say dense, it's got so much in the guidebook. And that's why I always tell people, like, read the guidebook because the guidebook is important. So you're not just guessing. It's very thick. It's a lot of information. And it's great because what it does is it separates out the subjects. So if you are interested in a general reading, you get that. If you want to specifically ask about your prosperity, you get that. And there's another meaning for relationships. I've cut it apart. And then if the card is upside down, it's a protection message. So it will then show you the extra care you need to take around the subject.
Okay. Okay. So someone's asking again, which deck for beginners? Here, I'm holding it.
Wisdom of the Oracle is a great deck. The other deck for beginners would be Wisdom of Avalon. The Wisdom of Avalon, that was my first deck, and I want to tell you a little bit about that. The Wisdom of Avalon was my very first oracle that I created for Hay House, and it actually came because I had read this book, The Mists of Avalon, and I had gone to Glastonbury. And I have never had a more wilder out-of-body experience in my life than happened to me there. I knew my way around that place. I'd never been there. I knew every street. I could see the sides of the buildings the way they were before they were ruined. They were ruins. I saw everything alive. It was wild. And I used to paint little blue moons on my forehead when I was a little kid with pens. And my mom would be constantly scrubbing my head, sometimes with Comet, but like, I had all these things. Well, yeah, when you're, or like some kind of, but anyway, here's the bottom line is that was the symbol of the priestess of Avalon. So I was obsessed about that, and Mary Magdalene. Those are my two things. Anyway, so prior to this, I made my own second opinion deck because I used tarot for actually 25 years, but early on I wanted to have something simpler, and I was fascinated with creating divination systems because that's really where my expertise is, the system of it. So I put stickers on playing cards, and I would put I made my own little language, my own lexicon of language, and I had my thing that I could look up. And that was what I used in my professional readings. I would then take a look at my own, hardly any Oracle decks were published back in the early 80s, right? 1980s, right? And I'm dating myself, but that's when I started this whole thing. So I would use that. So the template of that oracle became the template for the Wisdom of Avalon. That lexicon that I had created then became the lexicon of the Wisdom of Avalon, which is why you don't see, for example, in it, the depth of the goddesses that were worshipped in the Celtic traditions, etc. It was much more, and I was very clear about that in the description of the oracle, that it was more about it was inspired by the book and by my own experiences, but it was built on the lexicon. So you have animal guardians, animal guides of Avalon. You also have the sacred journey markers, and then you have the king and the queen.
I forgot I have that one also.
The high priestess. Anyway, so that's also really good for beginners. And this one here, but Wisdom of Avalon, if you're serious about getting into them, it's a really great deck.
Yes, it's beautiful. Oh, and I just have to do a quick shout out to Casey Miller. Casey Miller's here. Hi, Casey.
Oh, Casey Miller from the code reading. Yes. Casey Miller. Yes, nobody ever calls me. This is so bizarre, and it's off. My phone is off.
The phone
is so bizarre. I apologize. Anyway, Casey Miller, that's crazy. The door. This is Mercury
just
retrograde.
celebrated. Can I tell you something? Casey Miller just celebrated her 29th anniversary of running the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. Southwest Institute Healing Arts. Yes.
Can I just say something about Casey?
Yes.
So when you meet her, like there's a lot of people in this world, and I'm not going to say, oh, other people are this, but this woman has so much integrity, is so committed to this and the education of people. She does the coolest things. I mean, I love it when I meet her, because I met her through you, but I have nothing but utmost respect for her, what she does, her school. I'm actually super honored she showed up today here. Like, why? I don't know. Like, meanwhile, it's like pandemonium. Michigas at Colette's house.
Michigas. But that touches my heart because Casey's a dear friend, and
yeah, she's amazing.
It's just
I had a toe reading.
So amazing. You had a toe reading.
I had a toe reading from Casey years ago, and I have really bad bunions. And like, no, I have like, my feet are deformed, right? And I've never wanted to get the operation, but you know, it affects my posture. Anyhow, and she said such incredible personal things. She knows nothing about me. It was one of the most profound experiences I've ever had, was having that with her. I don't think I told her because I was gobsmacked at the time.
Okay, Casey, now you're hearing that. Colette was gobsmacked by the reading, by the toe
reading.
It
was amazing.
Okay, we have to share with everybody. Casey Miller developed something called toe reading. And she's been teaching it now for quite some time to all of her students at the Southwest Institute of Healing Arts, which, by the way, you can do online. Just go and Google Southwest Institute of Healing Arts. It's amazing.
I am curious to find out.
She developed toe reading, and she said, "What's a toe reading?" So I never heard of toe reading. Exactly.
But toe reading actually began in the Arab cultures. It's probably developed it from that. Yeah. It's an ancient divination. It's an ancient technique that she's modernized. It's incredible. No, okay. Can I say what you guys? She touches your toes and looks at your feet and basically tells you everything about yourself.
It's fabulous.
By looking at your
students to do that as well, and they're like amazing. Yeah.
And in the past, you've had like a whole bunch of them,
exactly.
right?
Like conferences, we always have toe readers there at the bigger events that we do. Yes.
You guys need to run, and if you can, when we get to come out of our little hiding holes.
Our events again. Each one of you has to come be with us at a Celebrate Your Life event. We've got one coming up in Sedona. Colette will be there. However, we're completely
no toe readings
out.
And there's no toe readings
because we're sold out right now. But yes. Anyway, Lucy, thank you so much for being here and honoring the 29 years you've been serving the community in the way that you do. So, okay. So Oracle cards. There was a really good question here, and now I have to go back and find the question.
I like good questions.
What happens if a card falls to the floor? What happens if a card falls to the floor, a sign of when you are shuffling the deck?
Okay, that's called a jumper card. So it depends. Okay. So in my school, for example, when I first start teaching people, I tell them not to look at it. But if I were to just, say, oh, I noticed a jumper card, there's a saying that says what falls to the floor comes to the door. So you take it out, you put it aside, and then you do whatever reading and then you look at it like but it's not it's not the anchor card, because the first card in any of the readings that I teach is called an anchor card, and it gives us a theme. It anchors the energy of the entire reading. That first card is the most important card, but that's not. So that's like, that's significant. That's significant. So it's a significant card that you put aside, do your reading, and then look at it.
Because I had that happen to me when I first picked up the deck. And now, because I've shuffled them,
it can also be super that you're just floppy.
Is that okay? I mean, upside down according to the way I'm holding them.
No, you have to mix them up. And this is a great way to mix up your cards. Say, take it like this, right? Okay. So you have your cards here. Oh, sorry. Sorry.
Whoa, some of them fell out. Wait a second.
And you use a corkscrew. So you can corkscrew them like this, right? And you're going to have them all mixed up then. And then you just go like this. And you're going to have some of them upside down, some of them right side up. And then you cut them, and then you make sure that one's going one way and there's the other. That's the best way to mix them up. But if it's a brand new deck and all of a sudden everything is upside down, then you haven't shuffled them correctly.
Okay.
You want to make sure that you've mixed them properly.
Can I do something? Because I really want people to see these because they're just magnificent.
Yeah.
Like, look at this card. Chaos and I mean, they're just beautiful.
And this is round and round. And if you notice that there's the Oracle's face is in every single card.
Oh, and I was like reading
community.
Spirit that's showing. Oh, I just got that before. That's so good.
Not for You is one of my favorite cards. This is Blessed.
And when you create, that's gorgeous. When you create the cards, do you feel like, that's so funny. Blessed just came up for me too. Oh, that's gorgeous. Do you feel that, Ginger's asking a good question. So
do I feel what? Finish your sentence.
Like the artwork, do you feel into the way the card needs to be?
Yes, because this is the way I worked with Jenna up until now. So I know exactly what I want, and I ask her to create it for me. So Jenna was the illustrator for the cards. I'm actually asking Hay House to put her name a little more prominently on the reprints of the card deck because things have changed now. And it used to be she just had her own little card in there because she was an illustrator that I hired. And then we became sisters. So, and I didn't want to work with anybody else. They kept saying, work with another artist. I went, no. Anyway, So, no, I art directed it and basically said, this is how I want this to be.
Okay.
Although I will say the Good Tarot deck, she went to town on that one. I just let her rip because that was a deck we did after this. And I'm like, I promise I won't bug you. You do whatever you want. This one, I was like, no, I had to take that out, put that in, take that out, take that. So yes, I write the deck. The deck is created. And then I'm looking for the symbols that match what I see in my head. And Jenna was an incredible translator. Like she was able to see that. Like she's incredible. I'll just say the person who gets to work with her next is so lucky.
So do you download the information first?
I do.
Do you feel like that comes through spirit, like you're channeling?
So I believe I channel every single one of my decks. And I can't do the deck unless I feel it. I don't do my decks intellectually. So which makes it hard because I have to really feel it in. Like my newest deck is like, I'm working with this Japanese artist who's amazing. He's from Santa Fe and he does this neo-primitive stuff. It's so wild. And we're both channeling it. And I'm calling him up. I said, he goes, I had to feel this. And I went running home and I painted this. What do you think? Like, it's the coolest thing. So I have to feel, I have to tune in to the spirit of the deck. But the deck will talk to me. And then and it's its own thing. It's its own spirit. I feel there's a presiding spirit. I'm an animist, right? There's a presiding spirit of the deck. And I listen to that consciousness and I jot down, okay, so what's this about? Is there a theme? Sometimes, like with crystal spirits, with spirit animal, I knew that I wanted to do that because it was really a testament to my animistic beliefs. But some of the other ones, like this newest one, the Dreamweaver's Oracle that's coming up next, is its own thing. Same with, I dreamt, and when I lived in Sedona, I dreamt the whole deck of wisdom of the hidden realms. Like the characters came to me in a dream. It was bizarre. So they have their own way of doing things. Yeah. And then I just kind of follow along. And then I have to find out how to make it speak. So, because sometimes, and then I have to find out which goes with which and who goes with what. And yeah, it's a process. For me, it's a process. It may not be that way for other people, right?
But you're the divination expert. So.
Well, no, I'm a historian in a way, but
yeah. But I love that.
I'm an oracle creator. I'm an oracle creator.
What you do, it's just amazing. And if you want any of the decks of cards, go to Colette's site. I posted the URL. It's ColetteBaronReid.com, and you can get the Wisdom of the Oracle. You can get the 7 Energies. You can get all of her cards on her website. Just click on Shop. So how about just 1 or 2 questions?
What about Ginger? Didn't Ginger have a question?
Ginger had a question, and now I can't find where Ginger's question
was. And I don't mind doing a couple of readings for people if I can switch through them.
Do you clear your cards?
Yeah. So I do. I do.
Okay.
I put a crystal on them at night if I've used a card a lot, or I knock it. Right. So I knock the card and I blow it. And when I helped Alberto Villoldo, his first deck, the mystical shaman, him and his wife, he didn't know how to make a deck. So I helped them create the lexicon. So I was the mystical part of the shaman deck because I'm not a shaman. And animism is not shamanism. It's in it, but I'm not a shaman. So I was able to bring to life their Andean shamanism. They are lineage keepers of the Quero Nation. They are actually lineage keepers. So I was able to give them the language. It was so much fun. And he showed me that about the knocking and blowing.
There you go.
They blow.
Okay, just asked. Okay, this is very funny. Where did that?
I will put this on it.
Cecilia just asked, can you help Liz to make her own deck?
No. Well, actually, I could. But I'm actually
I don't know if that's my jam.
Considering, well, I'm actually what I'm really interested in is helping people make their own second opinion deck. And one day, stay tuned, there could be something coming from the Colette Baron Reid universe.
Yeah, I think that would be so much fun, learning how to make your own oracle cards.
But not necessarily for sale, but for
yourself.
Yeah, that's that. I love that because I've done this with groups in Costa Rica. I've actually taken people through the process and in groups, and it's amazing. So one day, amongst all the things I have listed that I want to do,
one of those things, we'll all learn how to do them, and we'll do them together. Okay, so
I'll let you know. Liz, as soon as that's done, because it is fun.
So for those of you just joining, this is part of the Celebrate Your Life Book Club. And every month, and I'm going to go ahead and put it up here, every month we choose a different book. This month we chose Colette's Oracle cards. And we focus on it all month. And at the end of the month, the author or the creator, a la Colette Baron Reid, comes on at the end of the month and we do an interview. We chat about it. We answer questions. So I just want to share with you, if you're interested, it's totally free, obviously, because we're here.
Ask me a question. Take advantage of me.
I know. Ask a question. But if you're interested in joining, I just posted it. And if you want to come in and join the book club and take a look at, I'm going to give you a sneak preview, but we'll talk about it at the end of our conversation. But here's a sneak preview of next month's book.
Oh, are you doing it? Oh my God. Yeah. This book is so profound. And even, and I'm telling you, I'm very close to Abiola Abrams, and she is, I'm telling you, she is the most incredible human being. And nobody should be shy to get into this book. And it's not just for people with African descent. And she asked me to participate in, reading it when she finished it, and I gave her a testimonial. And it's a journey, and it's an extraordinary journey. It's not just a book. And I'm super excited that you're having her. And she's coming to Sedona.
She's going to be in Sedona. I know. She's fabulous. Okay. Somebody say, how do you join the book club? Just go to our website. Go to celebrateyourlife.com. So if you go to celebrateyourlife.com, scroll down a little bit, and it'll say book club. Just click on book club and put your name and your email in there, and we'll make sure that you get notices about every single book that we're doing and when we do our Facebook Lives. So by the way, oh, you want to do some? Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're here now. Let's because
we're live in a few different places. We're live on Colette's.
Oh, okay. So whoever but why don't we demonstrate the deck by taking a few people's questions, and then just by what you see on your scrolling. I don't see anybody. So if you have a question that comes through on one of your channels, we can just use that as a way to show people how this works.
Okay, let's do it. So Keiko is asking, she said, Colette, I would like to know about my business, please.
Okay, so
I draw a card and you draw a card?
I'm just going to pull one card. And so the card that I got was Poised in Protection. So it's not quite ready. So I'd love to get some feedback from you, Keiko, because when Poised is in protection, there are still some things for you to do and get off the ground before you get the kind of success that you want. I'll choose a second card too. And And it's not, oh, blessed. Yes. Okay. So actually Liz chose a card. So your direction is blessed, but you need to take some things off your plate. So not for you is a card that's really important. So this will be very interesting. So don't pull another card, Liz. So the direction you're in is blessed. We know that. You're not 100% ready to go to this next level because you need to say no to some things. It may be that you have to stop taking some clients and you need to up level that. It might be that you have to say no to too much. You might have to streamline things. And I would love to get some feedback from you, Keiko, right now, if you can tell us if that made sense to you.
Keiko, are you there? Did that
she
make
would be
sense
there
to
because she's
you?
waiting for us.
I know. There's a tiny bit of a delay. So
Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah. So let me ask you something. So the reading that you just gave to Keiko, is all of that information, like if I...
That's in the guidebook. I'm just skipping the book.
Got it.
I'm skipping the book because I made the cards.
Message in a bottle, essential meanings, and I would read it all.
Yeah, and you should.
Says yes.
It makes sense, right, Keiko? Can you give us a little more information, Keiko, than just yes?
Okay. And so someone said, how do the cards work with Feng Shui? And can they?
Oh, they can.
Yeah.
I have my house Feng Shui'd every month. Every new moon, I redo my house. And I work with someone named Angel DePara. He has a company called earthluck.org in Florida. And I will sometimes draw a card on one of the sections in my house to see if there's anything that I need to work on myself in order to up the energy of that particular, because in the bagua of a feng shui, these are energy pockets, etc. Like I might move a fountain or plants or metal or whatever. So I do use my cards with feng shui because they'll tell me that, also in order for me to align with the new energy of the feng shui of that month, this is what I could do to stay in alignment with my feng shui. So I will choose 3 cards for that, actually. So that was a good question. Nobody knows I do that.
Very good question. I know. I love that.
Excellent question.
Really good question, Carol. All right. Do you want to do another reading?
Sure. I'll do whatever. We have some time.
Yeah. Lisa asked a very good question about her elders.
Her what?
She would like to know if 2 of my elders can be helped. Lisa
2 of my elders can be helped?
Elders can be
so
helped.
So what I have done, let me just say this. My cards don't ever do yes or no answers. I've designed them because that just says yes, but it doesn't give you any, like you say, yes.
Then she says, how do I help you? Yeah, then she's got, how do I help 2 of my elders?
How do I help? That's better. Because remember that Oracle cards are an intermediary between you and the conscious universe that exists within you and exists everywhere. So you too are animated with spirit, right? That's you, anima, with spirit. So this is an intermediary. So you want to know, because your ego mind may not be able to, grok this information. You want to know what your higher power, higher self, conscious universe, God, goddess, whatever, has to say to you about how. So I'm going to choose a card for the how.
Lisa Rose.
Take the risk. So it is about taking a risk. It says, come to the edge. So you may have to take a risk and speak to them if they're in resistance to this. You might have to take the risk and do something that kind of scares you. How you help them is to take a risk and step over a line of comfort. I'm going to choose a second card for more information. So typically I'll choose the 1 card, and I like really simple readings. I know that every month I do these 21 card tarot spreads just because people like it, but I like it quiet. Oh, and it's breathing. So this is interesting too. So breathe, go slow. So it's take the risk, but go slow. And I'd like to hear some feedback.
Lisa Rose. So Colette is saying, take the risk, but go
slow.
Yes. So it takes a minute. So she's there.
Yeah, not a problem. You see how that, and again, I'm not reading the guidebook. That's something that you need to do when you first get the deck.
I would definitely think
but I'm here for you. And I want to, I'd like to take a few people, and it's rather than go through the guidebook, I'm going to just tell you what I see. Because it's the card. I'm not telling you what I see as an intuitive. I'm telling you what the card says. I'm not telling you my intuitive hit on it. Does Lisa Rose, does that make sense for Lisa Rose?
There, Lisa. Okay, you've got to be there, Lisa. Let us
That's
know
okay.
what you think about that.
We'll wait for her.
Thank you. Need to get my grandmother out of a dangerous situation.
Take the risk.
Take the risk.
And slow, right? So, so if that's a situation that she's in a dangerous situation, you take the risk and do it, right? It's like, you know, cross the boundary but be slow about it. Breathe. That's the other thing, is to make sure you're also doing your own self-care while you make this choice.
Oh, here's a fantastic question. It's not
Good.
It's not a reading. It's a question.
Good.
I love this question.
Much better.
Doreen Foxwell, this is such a great question. What can you recommend about introducing children to your work? Do you recommend it? I have a children yoga business that I would love
I sure do. So, and it's funny because a lot of people tell me that their kids pull my cards. Yes. I would go with spirit animal for kids. And the imagery is so beautiful. And there's a lot of love went into that deck. And it introduces them to the fact that, you know, nature is animated. It is a beautiful place. So yeah, or Wisdom of Avalon. Again, that's also one. But spirit animal is the one that all my friends tell me, oh, my kids pull your spirit animal deck all the time. So that's the one I would suggest for kids.
And how would you go about doing that? How would you start to introduce?
You just let them pick a card. Say, hey, let them pick a card and say, let's find out what it means. You know, like what animal, spirit or spirit animal or guardian animal is coming with me today, all right, to help me with my little friends, or to, you know, like at school or whatever. That's what my friends' kids pull at one every single day before they go to school.
Yeah, and you know, Colette is
pulling. And they're young. They're 8 and 10.
Oh, see, I think that's fabulous.
They're totally into it.
Everybody's asking questions, and I think that's amazing. And really, she's just paraphrasing the guidebook that she's written. So get the deck.
Yeah, I'm paraphrasing so you could see how the deck works, but you would be looking up the guidebook and then feeling, well, what just popped out of me in the guidebook? And maybe there's only 2 sentences in everything I've written, but it will touch you and you go, oh my God, I know what this is.
Yeah, and Annette is confirming. This is so cute. She says, my grandchildren love that deck, and they get so excited when I let them play with them. Yeah, that's so great.
And remember, I think also, I believe that the conscious universe is benevolent. And so my decks they're not fluffy. My decks are not fluffy bunny, but they're not harsh in any way, because I believe that I like to stay in the solution, not just to show the issue. So if there is a protection reading, there's always specific practical guidance. No. My husband's got the chainsaw
on the tractor outside. Oh, but look at this little thing.
I have one dog, God bless her, that could care less about noises, and she's like, who cares? It's a squirrel, whatever.
Noise. Come on.
Think about uppy, up.
Oh, Andrea, this is another really, really good question. Okay. This is not a reading question. She said, hello, beautiful goddesses. Well, thank you, Andrea.
Thank you.
Can you use oracle cards to communicate with loved
yes.
ones who crossed over, and how?
Yes, you can. And I didn't think you could until I did it on my radio show. I thought, oh man, I'm going to try this. And it was with Wisdom of the Oracle, this particular deck. And actually one of the phenomenal mediums who used to be in my school, her name is Lisa Bousson, and she teaches a mediumship course using this deck to teach people how to get more in tune with their mediumship abilities, using the deck to source information and evidence. So you definitely can. I know that you can use this deck. I haven't tried any of my other decks with it, just this one. And I'm a medium, so.
But what I love is that and you've said this over and over and over again, you create these decks as a personal transformational tool.
Yes.
And that's what we're getting here. And I know that so many of you want a reading, but remember, these are tools for you. This is for you. All of her decks.
And when you know what your next right action should be, let's say, for example, you have a dream or a destination, or, I tend to think that destinations come and go so fast, there's no such thing as one. But when you have an intention for an experience you want to have in your life, Oracle cards can show you how to avoid all the pitfalls and how to stay in that miracle mindset of trusting that you have this trusting relationship with the universe inherent in you. And we have not been trusting much in the past year and a half at all. So these help you be reminded that, oh my God, Spirit hears me. Holy moly. Like, this is real.
Exactly. Well, this has been so much fun. Oh,
thank you. One more.
Laura, great question. What should we bring a particular deck to the Sedona retreat?
That deck. That's the deck we're going to be working with.
Those of you who are signed up for the Celebrate Your Life Sedona retreat, and we are sold out, so we're not talking about that really right now. But this is the deck during Colette's workshop that she's going to be working with, the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So make sure you have that. If you don't have that, we'll have some there. But you can go and buy them on Colette's website at Colette Baron Reid.
And ColetteBaronReid.com or Amazon or Hay House. And my dear friend Abiola is going to hop on stage with me too. And she's also an intuitive, and she's also an Oracle deck creator. So she's got things to say about this too. And the two of us are going to make some serious magic at the end of my event. So yeah. Oh yeah.
Yay.
Yeah. You guys are in for a treat.
All right. So here's the deal. Next month, we are going to be reading Abiola Abrams's book. And I've started reading it, and it is fantastic.
Isn't it fantastic?
It's fantastic.
She's also a scholar. I want you to, this is really good writing, right? Abiola is a scholar. She researched everything, and it is the most divine, like oh my God. When you read that book, like, I couldn't believe how immersive it was. Like, it's not a book you read, it's a book that does you. Like, it is so incredible. So incredible. And then you learn so much about so much that none of us know about. All of us, in the West know about the Greek gods and whatever. And this is culture that we need to know about. We need to honor. And yeah, it's so cool.
Yeah. So in October, we're doing the African Goddess Initiation. And it is, hold on a second.
And are you doing Kid Est's book too?
Yes, that's in November.
Oh my God, you guys are in for a treat. Two of my dear friends.
Colette introduced me to Abiola and Kid Est. Sacred Rituals for Self-Love, Prosperity, and Joy. That is next month's book. If you're interested in being part of the book club, it's totally free. It's just, we hang out, we talk about the book. And then at the end of the month, what we're doing now with Colette is exactly what we're going to do with Abiola. So make sure and sign up for that. It's on the celebrateyourlife.com website. So if you go to celebrateyourlife.com, just scroll down, look for the book club, click on it, and you can become a part of it. And if you want to get Abiola's book, here's a link to it directly to Amazon. I went ahead and just put that right there. And this has been so much fun, Colette.
Well, other than the Michigas of the doorbell ringing, my husband on the tractor, then the
and the phone ringing.
It's like nothing ever happens until I get on a call. Like, it's just, it was quiet all day today. I do want to say thank you very much. And I love that people come to these things and ask really good questions. And I hope for the couple people that I did the actual reading for, that was great. Know this, that we need all the help we can get in my Wooniverse, WOO-niverse. My jam is oracles. It's divination. It's what I know works for me and has for countless other people. But there's so many different ways in which you can communicate with spirit and the universe. But Wisdom of the Oracle, if you're going to start with something and if you want to immerse yourself in something, this is really an incredible deck, if I may so say, because spirit gave it to me. I feel like I just birthed it. I was kind of the midwife. I'm the midwife of these decks. So it's not, I always say, this is not mine. This is for everyone.
I've never seen such detailed explanation on an oracle deck. It's really beautiful because, you pick a card and you're like, well, what? And then you explain them all here. So grab the deck, you guys. And I know that you'll enjoy them and love using them and for guidance.
And pets are people too.
Pets are people too, as we've heard and seen them. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody. Thank you so much, Liz, for inviting me. I love you so much.
All right, stay right there.